So in this video, I'm going to be assembling this that you see right here from scratch. It is kind of a long-winded video because I am literally figuring it out as I go with the supplies that I just have laying around. So if seeing what this is and what it's used for is interesting to you, watch the video, like it, give me some comments. I am not an electrician. I am not a professional in any way, shape, or form. This is something that I do for fun. I'm actually building this for a buddy to help him out with his LiPo micro RC car so he can charge more than one battery at a time. But yeah, enjoy. Batteries, they go in like micro cars, mini cars, things like that. The LiPo Mini is one, or Micro, I think maybe it's the LiPo Micro. But back when they sold these, which they're discontinued now, but back when they sold these, they came with a charger. And that charger charged the batteries through the balance port. So there was no need to connect the actual lead, the actual power lead to the charger. It did everything through the balance port. So I thought, well, that's great, but we have nowadays parallel balance boards like this. I use this all the time for my bigger 2-cell, 3-cell, even 4-cell, which this will go all the way up to 6-cell, I believe. Yes, this will charge all the way up to a 6-cell. But I'm thinking, obviously you don't want to dump 30, 40, 50 amps into these tiny batteries. Why can't I charge these little batteries through the balance port with my full size iCharger 306B or whatever you have? I think I'm going to attempt to make a simple but effective balance charge cable for these small batteries. So I've seen some online, but I think I want to go a little bit different with it. So my idea is I already have this connector that has multiple connection uses. You could literally do anything, charge just about, not anything, but you can charge a lot of different things off of this. And the one that keeps popping out at me because I have so many laying around is this. Simple negative and positive for powering a fan or something like that in your car, checking on it, whatever. I mean, charging, you can charge little receiver batteries, whatever with this. But I'm thinking I could use this to plug into the charger, take a servo wire that I have laying around, plug it into this, like so, which then makes it hot. And the idea is how do you get the power into this and get it to balance? So after doing some thinking, I believe that if I run the black on this, which is the negative, into the black on this, then run the red into the red side, completely delete the white signal wire because I'm not going to need it. That will power the balance port that plugs into the charger. Then if I add on the other side of this a wire out of here, and then on this end I will probably set it up with 2 at first, but if it works I can add more, make it 4. The idea would be then when the power is going in, the system is reading it, it is balancing the individual cells, but still charging through the balance port. So I guess we will put some things together here and lay this out and see if it's even possible. So I'm thinking if we take this white wire, which we're not going to need, and then just delete this wire out of the system. That was scary. Well, she don't want to come out of there. She's holding on. So I think if, I'm just thinking out loud here, if I take these right here, split them, let me cut that gooey stuff off and do that again. Split these, and if I crimp them onto the same wires that are in here, so if we take this out, and if we cut this off like so, let's strip this wire, and let's strip the black wire here. Go a little bit more. Now, am I going to be able to get these in the connector? That's a good question. Let's take one of these connectors off. Well, it didn't work out. Let's try that again. We're gonna have to close this a little bit. Okay. Okay, that's clearing on that side. So, if I was to take this one and this one, let's go ahead and put the big one in there first. Oh yeah, that goes all the way through. And then let's put the small one in there. And let's see if it all goes together, or if that was a complete waste of time. And grabbed are crimped in there. So in theory, if we have one of these plugs here, let's make sure we match up ground to ground side. So if this is like that, ground goes on this side, and This way, I think feels right. Okay, that's in there. No, maybe. Let's flip it over. Let's try this way. Well, I didn't like that either. Looks like my little catch tab here, I may have crimped it just slightly. Let's bend it up a little bit. Now then, let's put that in on this side with that facing this way. There she goes. Okay, that gives me my 2 wires on that side. Now let's do the same thing for the other. If we do the same thing for this side, let's strip this. Maybe. That was a little bit harder to strip than the black one. I should probably just invest in some strippers. Let's cheat. Okay. We got that one stripped out. Now we will take the red wire out of this old one. Let's cut this connector off. Strip this one. Yeah, a little bit more. Okay, let's get another. Now just understand, this is my first time ever doing this. So I really don't know what I'm doing exactly. I've put together a lot of servo wires over the year, but I've never once have I ever had to change a balance lead, a balance plug rather. What really gave me this idea is when I had ordered my new connectors for all of my different servos. So depending on what I'm building, I have them all separated out. So depending on what I'm building, I have everything I need right here. It just so happened that it came with the JST connectors. And I thought, okay, maybe that'll come in useful. Didn't seem like it would be something that I would ever do, but you know, when they're going to throw it in, why not? And then I started thinking about this idea. How can I make a parallel balancing cable for tiny 2S LiPos? And I don't know if this is going to work. If it doesn't, I'm sorry, but it's worth a shot. So we're going to go ahead and slide this big one in here first. That's a little much. Say right there, it's not going to hold. Looks like we're going to do them both at the same time. And look, we didn't even unbend the little clip on the back there. So I'm good with that. So now let's slip this in the other side of this. All right, so now we have our two hots from power into two hots from the power going into the balance plug, hot side to hot side, ground side to ground side, which out of that we have our positive and our negative going to the lithium polymer battery, or batteries when we get there. Now we need a third wire for our balance lead. So I guess I will just take a piece of this. As a matter, no, unfortunately that's not going to work. That's from the Servo. So let's cut that. Let's strip that. Okay. Let's get another one of these. I don't even know what these are called. You say it on the outside? Yes. HX 2.54 millimeter pinch female pin connectors. Okay. And the more you know. So let's get everything looks good there. So now we are going to slide this. I definitely think I need to shrink that because that is a little bit too close for comfort sticking out right there. But let's slap that in there. Okay, so now we have our balance lead, our third balance lead coming out. So the question is, should I have gone with thicker wire here? I don't know. Time will tell. Once we try it, we'll see what happens. Now we'll go ahead and take this and cut it to the same length as the other ones. Get rid of that. Get rid of all this for now. Okay. So, for the next step, boy, I should have planned this a little bit better, but I'm totally doing this on the fly here. So the next step is going to be, we need to connect this to this, but I need to do it more than once because I want to put multiples. That's the whole point of this. So I need this to connect like that. So I need to connect that to this. So I'm thinking I should probably grab some more servo wire. And I think, like I said, for now we'll do two. So I'll need 2 reds, 2 whites, 2 blacks, and that should be enough. I think I'm going to go ahead and actually solder those to here. Let me get that all set up and I'll be back with you in a minute. So after going through my stuff, I thought I had more bad servos laying around that I could steal the wires off of. Didn't have them, but I found I have a bunch of this. Basically, this came with this, and it's just a big strap of different colored wires all connected together. They'd probably be okay. They look a little thin. to see if this idea is even going to work. This will work. If this works well, I may rebuild it with thicker wire. But I mean, I'm thinking that if I do charge on this, I probably won't be charging much over a half amp, 3/4 of an amp, maybe an amp, maybe. But we'll see. So I'm going to go ahead and steal the red, the black, and the white wire out of this just to keep things copacetic here. And we will see if I can make this work. So basically what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to build 2 connectors. Each connector has 3 wires. So I'm going to have to do this 6 times. So this would make 1 connector and then repeat the same process again. So let me get everything lined up and some crimping done, and then I'll be right back. So if this is going to, obviously a much smaller version of this, if this is going to be connecting to this, we'll just say for argument's sake, this is a tiny little battery version. But if this is going to connect to this, we need to know which side's which. So on here, red is on the left, black is on the right. This uses a blue wire for the center wire. It doesn't really matter. Your negative and positive are the most important for, at least on this one, with dealing with 2 cells. So I'm thinking that the red one is going to go on this side. Maybe. And the black one is going on this side. Something like this. So when this is connected to this, which we can do because these aren't doing anything yet, the black is connected to the black, the red is connected to the red, and the blue is connected to the white. Again, the center wire, no big deal. Now, I'm going to go ahead and, before I move any farther, I'm going to go ahead and shrink this together. Well, I'm going to do a little piece on each one of these. I only have green. Do whatever color you want. But I figure if it's going to go all the way up against it, I'm going to shrink it to about there. So I'm thinking something like that. All I have is a gigantic heat gun. So let me go heat these up, shrink them down, and I'll be right back. So thankfully, I didn't make you suffer through this twice. While I was shrinking the first one, I went ahead and put the second one together and got it done. Now we're here to start soldering some wires together. So pretty straightforward. All the whites go to the white, all the blacks go to the black, all the reds go to the red. I'm going to go ahead and tin all these wires first. And then once we do that, we'll come back and solder everything, and I'll show you the completed job. All right, so here we are now. I went ahead and tinned all the wires. I cut some more shrink tubing. This will be slid over this after these are soldered together. So we have white, red, and black, and white, and then on both sides, white, red, and black, and we're going to connect all those. So what I'll do, everything's tinned, so it should go pretty smoothly. If it's pretty horrible, I will speed up the video again. But hopefully it won't be too horribly bad. Okay, there's one. Let's go ahead and unclip all this. Make sure these connections look okay. That should hold in half an amp, maybe. We'll go ahead and slide our shrink tubing over here. So what do we have here? We have two plugs for a battery. We have our hot and our ground. We have our balance plug. So let me get some batteries together. Let's get this hooked up and let's see if it will send a charge into the batteries. So before putting this on the charger, I just wanted to try something. I just have a standard LiPo battery checker here for multiple cell LiPos. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stick the balance port on here, and I want to make sure that both of these made connection to it. So we'll go ahead and connect this battery balance port to this. We're showing that cell 1 is at 3.81, cell 2 is at 3.77, so we know this one's working. Big question I had, did I mix anything up? Did I screw up anything? So I want to remember that cell 1 is 3.81. I'm going to disconnect it and connect it to the other port and see if cell 1 is still 3.81. So disconnect, other plug, plug it in, cell 1 still 3.81. So nothing is mixed up in here. Cell 1 is cell 1, cell 2 is cell 2. So in theory, two batteries, doesn't matter, they're both going to be in here. Where it gets a little tricky is you need to make sure that if you're going to use one of these or make something like this, that your batteries are close to the same in voltage. I don't know an exact number when I say close. I like to have mine within 0.2 of a volt. I know that if they're off by some, I just don't charge right away. If it's like 3.81 on this cell and say 3.90 on the other cell of the other battery, like cell number 1 of the other battery, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and just plug the batteries into the cable or the balance board or whatever I'm using, and I'll let them set for, depends on how far they're off, 15 to 20 minutes. And they tend to balance pretty close. I just don't want to have them that far off when I start to charge or store or cycle or whatever I'm doing with the batteries, because I don't want one to peak before the other one and then have voltage issues there. So anytime you're balancing, or parallel charging rather, maybe that's the word I should be using. Anytime you're parallel charging more than one battery at once through the same cable, through the same port, you want to make sure that the cells are very, very close in voltage, so you can get the best out of your packs. Now that I'm okay with this, I'm going to go ahead and jump over to my my big charger, plug everything in, and we'll see if it'll actually charge. Okay, so here we are sitting in front of the charger. I don't have a few of these. I'm actually building this for a friend. I only have the one. So in order to actually test this, what I've got here is a couple of Gens Ace 5000 mAh batteries that I have connected to. I've connected the balance ports to the connector. Then what I've done to the charger is I have my octagon thing here, my octo plug, whatever, the one that's got a whole bunch of fittings on it, which I only need one of. But I have that here, and then I have a balance board, so to speak, extension of the balance board that's within the charger sticking out here. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to take the the other end of the plug and plug it into the 2-cell. And we're going to see, yes, according to the charger, I don't know if you can see that on camera, but we have 3.842 volts on cell number 1 and 3.843 on cell number 2. Close enough. I'm comfortable with that. These are way too overpowered to actually charge at 10 amps, so I'm going to go ahead and just charge them at a 0.5 amp. I may push it up to 1 amp just to make sure nothing happens. I may do that off camera just to make sure that it doesn't get too hot, but that's assuming it works at all. So we'll go ahead and take that for there. Now, this octo plug, so to speak, is plugged into the negative and positive of the battery charger here. So I'm going to go ahead and take this, match up the red and the black, plug those together, and as soon as I do that, I don't know if you can see it, but the voltage pops up on the screen. So we're getting voltage, complete voltage of the battery from the negative and positive, and then the individual cells from the balance board, or from the balance plug. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go into the charger here. We're going to charge it at 0.5 amp. Oh, it's already set at 0.5 amp. Very good. So we'll go ahead and charge it at a 0.5 amp. Start. Are you sure? Yes. And I don't know if you can see this, but it is starting. Let's see if the amperage, yep, the amperage is climbing. 0.02, 0.07. There she goes. It's currently charging. I can see the individual cells climbing, and it's already pumped in 1 milliamp. Fantastic. So we're charging, everything's hooked up. We'll keep an eye on it for a few minutes, and then I will ramp it up to 1 amp, see how it's going. But it is working as it should. At this rate, with this size batteries, it would take days. But I just wanted to see if it was going to work. It looks like it works flawlessly. So I hope this was informative. I hope you made it through. If you did, and this is something that interests you, let me know. Maybe I can make something else. But thank you, and thanks for watching.